Hey guys, welcome back to the Multilingual Mind. Today I'm super excited to talk to you guys about an app called Skritter, which I began using because I had a really busy start to the school year with teaching and I wasn't able to review as much. I started using the character workbooks. I just make copies of these. I have the integrated Chinese character workbooks, but this got a little bit tiring and it just wasn't holding my interest as much anymore. So I was looking for a way to review the chapters of integrated Chinese without having to just do flashcards and, written exercises or writing the characters over and over again. So I decided to go ahead and get Skritter. And I just wanted to tell you about my experience because it's been very positive. So let's jump into it. Okay, so I'm going to start by opening the app on my phone here. And we're going to go to the home screen first, I think. And I wanted to show you just a couple of things that I thought were really cool in the settings. So they're going to give you an option between simplified or traditional characters, or you can do both. Another thing that I liked is you can decide whether or not you want to do just study the definitions, the readings, the tones, or the writings. What else? Let's see. There we have the streak effects and grading colors. Those aren't super important, but they, I think, enhance the experience a little bit more. Raw squigs are basically when it doesn't make everything look all pretty. It's just going to show you how you are actually writing it, but it will still correct it. Then we have a stylus input. So if you have a compatible device, which honestly, I'm not sure exactly which ones are compatible. But it'll, if you're practicing calligraphy a lot more or you're doing painting and things, I could see this maybe being a little bit more useful because it will take into account how much pressure you're using on the screen. And so it will, make thinner or thicker strokes. Then we have for the card settings, I just do autoplay reading because I feel like otherwise, it would maybe go a little bit slower. And I don't like having the auto advance because I think everyone probably advances a lot faster than the normal, speed that it would advance at. So I don't know. Then we have auto reveal. I don't know, high definition, high reading. Just some basic stuff there. Then in the home screen, there's also gestures. I thought this was really neat because it just makes your process of going through these cards a lot faster when you have, a couple different strokes that you can use or gestures that you can use to make that experience a little bit easier. For example, they have swipe up on the canvas to erase the current character. So you can just swipe if you want to practice it again. I really like that one because if I didn't feel like I quite got it, then I can just make myself practice it a couple more times before I go on to the next one. Tap and hold with one finger to reveal a single stroke hint. That's kind of nice because sometimes you are not able to remember exactly how a character begins. And so sometimes just a hint or two can help you get through the rest of the character. Tap and hold with two fingers to reveal the entire character. If you do that one though, it'll tell you that you didn't remember it, so it'll mark it red. But it's all about practice. Then if you go to about Chinese, this section is really good for if you're brand new to Chinese. I could see going through this would be really cool because it tells you about pinyin, tones and sentence structure, the difference between simplified and traditional characters. So super useful for beginners of the language. We have a button here for do cards, so the ones that it thinks that you should go back through and practice. As you can see, I don't really use that function very much. Then you can click on continuous. From what I can tell, it looks like a continuous stream of different ones that you can go through. You can choose which decks you want to review and how you want to review them, and then go ahead. Then time attack is basically they have a bunch of different HSK sets here. So if you think, I think I'm kind of around HSK 1, for example, you can go through and see if you can, improve your time on some of the sets for HSK, see how many characters you know, and then you're competing against other people in the Skritter community for like the high score. What else here? Let's see. Okay, then let's go to Dex now. And I really like this. I mean, I guess it's pretty self-explanatory, but this is where you house all of your decks. And so I have integrated Chinese in here, and this was a huge selling point for me because I was able to get the integrated Chinese set on my phone without having to add in every individual character on my own. However, I have the 4th edition of integrated Chinese, the book, and I find that on the app it says 4th edition, but it's not. Like there's a couple different characters in there that are, I'm guessing, from older versions of integrated Chinese. And so what's kind of cool about that is that I'm learning a couple extra characters from each chapter, but also at the same time, I thought it was a bit of a drawback that I mean, unless I just can't figure it out, but I couldn't edit it to add on new characters because I thought, well, maybe there's some new ones that they added into the 4th edition that would only make sense. And so I wanted to, see if I could go about adding those back in. But I couldn't find a way to edit it. So I guess you have to make your own set then if you want to do any editing. But you can't edit sets that have already been made, it looks like. Then you can create your own set too. If you just click on the plus button, you can name your set and just put in whatever characters you want. If I go into integrated Chinese, you can click on learn or test, and the learning function is neat because it'll just show you, like the tone and the pinyin, and then it'll have you practice a couple times, and then it'll show you like how many you've gone through just in the learning mode, and then you can move on to testing later, which it just, and you can choose which ones do you want to test. Like, do you only want to test the writing portion, or do you want to test your knowledge of the pinyin and the tones and such too? So really cool resource. Then I'm back in Dex here, and you can click on browse, and you can browse for different sets, whatever topic you want to look at. And then there's a featured section that has a lot of kind of just like fun stuff. Some of it I think is like really relevant, and some of it is maybe less relevant. Like I think I saw like one on like Star Wars vocabulary or something, but then there's also different sets like, question words, which are super useful. So yeah, I kind of like that because you can just choose, whatever piques your interest that day. Let's click on over to progress. So you can look at your daily progress, shows your total time, your success rate, the cards studied, words learned, and then you can click on the overall. So if you're into stats and you want to see kind of like what your general progress is, this is kind of nice. They'll show you like your longest streak, how many unique characters, how much total study time you've had so far with the app. Okay, so now we're in the My Words portion, and I'm just going to go ahead and click on an example one. Let's do Beijing. So you can click on it to see how it sounds. Then you can see an example sentence, a definition. And then what I like here is it gives you learning tips. So you can kind of read a little bit more about the history of the character, how is it composed, which different radicals is it made up out of. So it'll show you then the characters below and the meaning of each individual one. And yeah, just kind of that's going to be in the long run what helps you to memorize the characters more. If you don't know the story behind it, or you don't know the radical, I find the ones that I don't know the story behind, those are the ones that I forget more easily. And then sometimes I want to go back and look up, hey, what is the history of this one, or what are the radicals that maybe I'm not identifying, because those are the problem characters for me. And so if I go back and look at that, that's usually something that, okay, now I get it, and now it'll be able to stick in my mind a little bit more easily. So if you guys are contemplating getting Skritter, I highly recommend it. Even if they don't have your specific book that you're studying with, as preset sets in there. It's super easy to create your own deck, maybe just a little bit time consuming up front, but then you have all these sets that you can bring with you virtually anywhere, just on your phone. Whether you're sitting on the couch in your living room or you're out and about and, waiting for a doctor's appointment or something like that. It just makes the process a lot more easy than to, go through the paper version where you're writing down characters, but you're not really getting a whole lot of sentences to put them into context. And so it makes it a little bit harder for you to memorize the characters. Whereas if you see them in a context, it's super important for being able to just kind of connect all those ideas. And you're going to realize that you're memorizing the characters a lot faster if you see them in that context. Another thing that I wanted to bring up was that if you have bad wrists or hands like me, then maybe you want to consider getting a stylus. This one is called the Adonit Pro 4. I swear I'm not sponsored, but this is what it's called. I wonder if you can see. That's what this one is. I looked at a couple different ones, and admittedly, this is the only one that I have ever tried. But, it has this little tip on here that's kind of weird. I didn't know if I would like it a lot, but, it hits the screen like that. And it's like a nice precision point for using on the Skritter app. Like, I tried using this for Duolingo too, but I have to say I like using my finger better for that one. But then for the Skritter, I really like using a stylus pen a lot more, just because it's more precise and I feel like it can go faster and there's less large movement with my hand. So my hands and my wrists don't hurt as much if I use a stylus. So I recommend getting a stylus if you're going to use the Skritter app. What do you guys think? Have you used Skritter before? Let me know in the comments below. See you next time. 再见.